Speaking of where things are, there's a lot of sneaky ways, Zach, that we pay and spend money without even realizing it. And you've identified 4 different sort of ways that we're going to share with our audience this week on the program about things to really watch out for.
Things to take a look at least. And the very first one being Autopay, which, those gym memberships or the streaming services or the apps, while very convenient to have Autopay, it gets out of your brain. And so you no longer think I'm sending money to these people every month or quarterly or however you pay annually. And so the thought isn't there anymore. So you just kind of forget about it.
Well, and sometimes you even forget about like what it is or how to log in.
Where it is, what your password is.
Correct. All of that. I mean, I got one going on right now, and it's this charge for Honor Society. It's called Honor Society. I know it's one of the kids. They can't remember which one of them it was. They certainly don't remember, what it wound up being, but yet it just keeps showing up, and that's frustrating. What can we do about that?
Yeah, and in a 2024 Yahoo Finance report found that the average consumer spends $1,000 per year on subscription. So how do you fix this? Well, you do a subscription audit, if you will. Just compile them. You could break out a pad and a pen and just write down, well, here's my subscription, here's my Netflix, my Amazon, what have you. Here's how much I pay them every month, and here is how often I use it.
Well, I got to track down this Honor Society thing. This thing's really every year. I'm like, oh, I don't know. Who says this? I don't know. Yeah, it's not good. The subscription audit would be a very good thing. What else is out there to sneaks up on us?
So you shared that you are part of this. You are part of this, of a subscription that is out there floating who knows where.
That is for sure.
I know I have done it as well. I have signed up for a subscription to catch a big game, and then, of course, weeks later, I have forgotten all about the game. Game is way over, and then I see the charge. So how do you solve this? Well, obviously, there's one way, and you can write everything down, write down your subscriptions, and just keep track. Another way to do it is to use technology. You can use temporary card details and then decide, do I really want to use this month to month, or try it for a month and then let it go.
Yeah, those free trials that you're talking about, where you say, "Oh, I'm gonna just sign up so I can watch this movie or this show or this game," they turn into paid subscriptions more often than not.
They do. That's a very sneaky part of that. A lot of times, the free trials are coupled with Autopay. So after your free trial ends, it flips over to Autopay. You might forget all about it. Life is busy. And then all of a sudden you've got this subscription that you probably will forget about at some point.
Good way. Any suggestions on how to combat that issue? Besides, don't sign up for a free trial.
Again, back to,
because it ain't free.
Back to the temporary card details, of course. So if you run temporary card details, well, at the end of your free trial, the numbers aren't going to be there to run the card, and you might have forgotten about the subscription, but at least you don't have to pay for it.
That's not a bad idea. That is for sure.
The next sneaky way would be the overdraft fees and convenience fees of your bank, which can get a lot of people. That overdraft fee is particularly expensive, sometimes $30 per charge.
Sure. Yeah.
Per charge. So that adds up quickly.
Sure. If you overdraft and then 3 or 4 things wind up hitting because they were on Autopay or what have you, then that can accumulate up pretty quickly. And the same thing with ATMs and those kinds of things.
Yeah, they usually charge, an out-of-network ATM might charge you $3 or $5, which might not seem like a big deal if you do it once in a blue moon. But if you go to a out-of-network ATM once or twice a week, then yeah, I mean, that's going to add up over time.
No, absolutely, and that's certainly an important consideration. And then in terms of other sneaky charges, and I guess this has to deal with how we all shop today, right? The digital age of shopping, we put stuff in carts, and we can quickly, just it's like a swipe, and then poof, I've already placed the order. They've got all of my shipping information, and then it's just going to show up tomorrow. That's, at the end of the day, maybe not a good thing.
Maybe not. They just make it just too easy nowadays. They try a lot of different things to do within the different retailers. They can trigger FOMO, fear of missing out. They don't want you to miss out on this hot, limited time item, if you will. So before you know it, you've spent $50 and you're thinking, when am I ever even going to use this thing?
Yeah, no. Well, you've got a good suggestion, which we were preparing for the show. You mentioned this to me. This is a good idea. I hadn't necessarily heard of it. What's the suggestion here when it comes to these digital carts?
The suggestion is the 24-hour rule. So go ahead, put it in your cart if you want, but then forget about it for 24 hours. Or maybe even a couple of days, and then come back to it a couple of days later and say, do I really want this? Do I even really need this? Am I going to end up using this at all? So just to bring some of your thought process back into it, to get out of the quick dopamine rush of I must have this is a limited time offer, I need to get on this. Separate yourself from that, and then come back a couple days later and look at it with a microscope and say, do I really want this? Do I really need this?
The amount of money that I think just slips through our fingertips in today's world on a regular basis is just, it's just amazing. And I guess, part of it is obviously the transition away from hard currency, hard dollars, right? There's all kinds of studies that say that if you are using currency, if you're using dollars, then you're going to feel the impact of spending so much more than just a click or a tap or a swipe.
Yeah, there is so many scientific studies out there that show the pain, if you will, when you hand over a dollar bill compared to when you tap. It's just another tap of the plastic, so not any emotion attached to it. Whereas if you have something physical that you say, I have to give this away, there's a little bit of reluctancy in that.
So to kind of connect all of the dots of what we've been talking about on the program today, the reality is that if you're thinking about Social Security and the current state that it is in, and obviously thinking about these reports that say that the trust fund is running out, and you're looking at, I'm going to have to figure this out. I'm going to have to save more. Well, then this is a great opportunity to help people save more without necessarily changing behavior.
Right. And you just reduce some of your subscriptions. And a lot of people don't think about the possibility of just reducing your subscriptions. I know that there's many subscriptions out there that have the same movies, that have the same TV shows. There's a lot of overlap with these. Now, there are some that are specific, but a lot of these have overlap. So while you're doing your subscription on it, maybe look and say, okay, here's my 5 favorite shows. Do I have those across the board, or do I need a whole bunch of different subscriptions? And if they're all on one, just pick one and save the money.
Correct. Rather than so certainly the auto payment of those subscriptions, whether it's the online services or gym memberships, we all know that that happens, and you're not getting full usage of that. The free trial conversions was sort of the other one that you mentioned, Zach. That where you sign up for the free trial, and then all of a sudden it winds up being automatic, and now you're paying for it. And then those overdraft and convenient fees, that was a big part of it. And then, of course, online purchasing. And that's always been sort of more and more of an issue, particularly with the Amazon cart, I guess, started all of that. But that 24-hour rule, that's a great suggestion.
Yeah, it's great to really pan back and, think about what you're spending your money on. If you don't just instantaneously go for the grab, you might come back and say, well, I don't even really like that at the end of the day. I don't really need that. It's just the fear of missing out. It's the limited time offer that's driving your purchase.
No, and to that point, put it in the cart, but give yourself a day or two to really think about, do I really need that? That is for sure.